very much for coming to join for this Yin Yoga session. And following this year's theme of the Brahma Viharas, this session will be kind of based around compassion. And compassion is a really big topic. Compassion is all about acceptance and understanding at a very deep level of the realities of life and of the realities of ourselves. Today I want to sort of focus a little bit on self-compassion, because according to the Buddha, what's really important when we want to go on the spiritual path, when we really want to delve deeper into the spiritual path, is that we firstly start to try and develop the Brahma Viharas into ourselves. So loving kindness and compassion and all that. We want to work on developing that in ourselves so that we have the ability, we have the confidence, we have the self-assurance, we have everything we need to go down the spiritual path and to start to have an effect outside of ourselves as well. So to take compassion to the next levels, first we must start with us. So some people might be asking, well, what is compassion for the self? How do we practice self-compassion for us? And it's a little bit about starting to reconnect with the self, with the body, with the feelings, with the emotions, and because we've lost that a little bit. We've learned to spend most of our time, most of our day thinking about other people, working for other people, and living our lives for everybody else. So that becomes our main focus, and during this process we lose touch with what's going on in our body, what's going on with our feelings. When we're sick, we push through. When we are tired, we feel that there's something wrong with us and that we should be on top of our game all of the time to meet the needs of other people and society. So self-compassion, if one leg or one part of self-compassion that I find is this importance to really stop and to start to reconnect with the body, start to read and feel what's going on inside of us, and to listen and to find acceptance of what is happening, and to know that that's okay, to stop judging ourselves and blaming ourselves that this feeling is wrong, that being under the weather is wrong, that being upset is wrong, and start to be more accepting of these things so that we can feel them, we can process them, and we can grow from them. Rather than trying to fight them, we want to embrace them. And this way, everything can change for us. So what's really important in this practice, we're going to make each pose, and we're going to hold the pose for about 1 minute to 2 minutes for each one. And it's going to give us the time to just stop, to slow down, to stop, and to keep our awareness on what's actually happening. Feeling through the body, feeling or noticing the emotions, noticing their breath. And this is a kind of practice to start to reconnect our consciousness with the inner world, okay? So the more we do this, the longer we practice that every day, or you can make that reconnection, and you can start to become way more conscious of what you need and what is going to give you more power to help in your daily life, okay? So grab yourself a mat, stay warm, and let's get started. We're going to start to come down onto our back. We're going to lie down on the floor. And what we're going to do is we're going to take the left hand with our palm facing down, and we're going to bring the pelvis up off the ground and slide the hand underneath the body. Okay. And with the right arm, we're going to take it overhead with the elbow pointing out to the side that the arm can fall on the ground. Okay, so this is going to start to open up into our shoulder joint. And from here, you can leave the knees bent with the feet flat on the floor, or if you like, you could straighten the legs and bring them down onto the ground.
You can start by just watching your breath if you like. Starting to feel what's going on in the body, maybe just scanning from head to toe. Noticing the feelings. Noticing if there's pain or tension. And we can use the breath, the inhale and the exhale, to relax a little bit deeper into the pose. So you're breathing in, and when you breathe out, you melt into the floor. And then we're going to switch to the other side. So you could bring the knees back up, bend the knees, bring them back up off the floor. Bring the right hand down back to the stomach. Tilt up the pelvis and bring the left hand back out. And then so to switch sides now, we're going to just do the opposite. So we take the right hand with the palm facing down, placing that underneath the spine. The left arm now goes overhead with the elbow pointing outwards. And again, you can keep the knees bent or extending the legs out in front of you. Again, here is where we want to let go using the breath. Scanning with your awareness from head to toe where there are sensations, where there is tension. And you might even notice just by taking your awareness into these places that the tension starts to let go all on its own. When we connect the mind with the body, there's this amazing natural ability for healing, for relaxing. And then we're going to slowly come back again. So we bring the left hand back down and bend the knees to come up. Drawing the right hand out from underneath the body. And then we stay on the floor. And from there, we're going to come into the laying down pigeon pose. So probably most of you remember this one. So you bring the right knee up off the ground and cross the leg over the left, and you can stay here if that feels good for you, or if you want to take it further, you bring both feet off the ground and you draw that left knee towards the chest. Okay. And if you didn't feel any tension before, it's probably likely that you do for this one. So this is a great one. Okay, so this is where you can use your awareness. Close your eyes and you scan into the thigh, into the hip, where you feel this tension. And you just watch it, you notice it, you feel it, you don't judge it. You don't say, oh, that should be there, I'm too lazy, I'm too tired, I don't do enough exercise, and that's why I'm in pain. We don't do any of that. We just purely watch what is going on and just accept that that's where the body is right now. We don't need to be a super athlete, we just need to understand where we are. And using your breath, and every exhale, you just imagine tension letting go. You imagine space creating, or space forming in the hip, in the thigh, little bit by little bit, not all at once, just letting go. Okay, so now what I want you to do is just to let the left foot come back down to the ground. And from here we're going to continue into a twist. So you cactus the arms, lift the buttocks off the ground and just bring it over a little bit to the right side of the mat. And then from there we just let the legs fall down to the left side. And we're going to stay in this twist. So even just doing this practice is a big form. It's a big form of self-compassion. Self-compassion can be just doing nothing for yourself. Just being okay with relaxing and slowing down. And sometimes self-compassion can be to invest in, some kind of activity that recharges you. Something that nourishes you. When you've been giving love, attention, energy outside of yourself, then self-compassion can be doing activities that recharge you, that give back to you. And sometimes we have to take that into our own hands. Sometimes we want other people to recharge us, and that's not always possible. So when we're on our own, or when we can't receive from others, then we can find ways to give to ourselves. And it's probably the most important way to learn how to recharge, because if you can do it yourself, you can do it anytime, anywhere. And sometimes it's just about finding what are those ways, what is the right way to give to yourself at the right time. So breathe in and draw the body back up off the floor. Uncross the legs and bring the buttocks back to the center. This time we're going to bring the left foot and cross it over the right knee. Again, you can stay here, or you can breathe in and draw the right leg off the ground, drawing all of that towards the chest. Closing the eyes. Inhaling and exhaling to release and take the awareness to where you feel tension. Bring compassion and love into the thigh and the hips. And we're specifically looking at today the hips and the shoulders, the neck, the lower back, because these are places where we commonly hold our tension. When we hold our stress, we hold our traumas heavily in these areas. And this is why I say we're bringing the compassion to these areas. We want to let this stress go. We want to let the hard feelings, the negative emotions, we want to release them. And this is what we're doing when we're making space. When we let this tension decontract, we are getting rid of this energy, this negative energy. And we're creating space for energy flow, for positive, for relaxation, and for healing. Okay, and then release come down to the floor. Once again, cactus shape into the arms. Lift the pelvis a little bit to the left side of the mat. And then slowly allow the legs to fall over to the right side as you come into your twist. Again, closing the eyes, scanning, where am I feeling sensation? Where am I feeling blockages, tension? Where can I just let go, release? Super, now bringing that back up again, so breathe in, draw the knees up off the ground, uncross the legs, bring the arms back to center, and then you can come over into the fetal position and then push yourself up to sitting. What we're going to do is come into, we're going to come down onto our buttocks, right? So we have the feet out to the side, and then take the left leg and we're going to cross it over the right leg, trying to bring our sitting bones into the center as much as possible. Okay, so we have the feet are sort of pointing out to the side as much as possible there. Then what I want you to do is take your left hand and just place it on the floor next to your hip. But on this side, on the left side. And then the right hand is going to come behind the back. And it's just going to sit, just sit at the bottom of the lower back there. Okay? So that there is a bit of a stretch in the upper shoulder. And from there, we're going to drop the left ear down towards the shoulder. So we're just going to make the stretch here on the right side of the neck. Okay? Again, closing the eyes and breathing. What's important is that we're trying to keep the spine sort of sitting up tall, not hunching over. If we can really relax into this, we're letting the shoulder come away from the ears, the right shoulder coming down, making space. A little opening in the chest maybe. And just enjoying the sensation too of creating this freedom. Taking this time to really do something good for the body. And then coming back up to center, release the arms, and we're going to switch everything completely. So we're going to switch the legs as well. So you can do that by just stretching the legs out in the front, and then we're changing the cross. So before the left leg was on top, I want the left leg underneath. This time the right leg is going to switch over to the other side, so the right leg is on top. The sitting bones are in the center, the feet are out to the side. And so this time,
The right hand comes down to the floor. The left hand goes behind the body, just sitting in that kind of hip crease there. And sitting up nice and tall with the spine, so without tensing too much, but kind of holding that upright without sort of slouching too much. We want to make just a gentle straightness there. And then we drop the right ear to the right shoulder this time, opening on the left side. Creating that space in the neck, the shoulder. Watching the breath, breathing in and out through the nostrils. Feeling the cool air as you're breathing in through the nose, and the warm air as you're breathing out, and you relax and you make space. You relax into the seat, you relax the legs, the neck, the spine. Melt again into the floor. Let yourself completely go. Beautiful. And then you can come back to center. And if it feels good to you, I'm just going to put in a little stretch that we open up the body. So placing the hands, that the fingers are pointing forward, the feet are pointing forward, and then we breathe in, we just draw up just for a moment, kind of stretch in the arms, the shoulder, and then come back down to the floor. Cool. So we're doing good. And for the next one, I want to come down to the mat. We're going to lay on the front side. So you can kick your legs to the side. And then just easily, in your own way, coming down to the floor. And we start with the right arm. We're going to take the right arm out. Okay? My left hand, I'll keep it on the floor next to my chest. And then bend into the left knee. And I'm going to just draw myself over that my left foot comes to touching on the ground. So maybe you can't see my foot, but it's on the floor. My head comes to the mat. And I stay here and try to open and let go into the hip. Deep breathing if necessary. If the tension is strong, then breathing deeper, the inhale and exhale, can really help to make it easier to go into where there is tension, where there is pain and discomfort. It's a good tip to remember how to use the breath when it's really getting difficult. And you just do that by lengthening the inhale and the exhale, going in deeper into the breath. Keeping the consciousness locked into the body again, remembering the scanning of the body, the scanning of the sensations throughout the body. Finding all these places where you can still just let go a little bit more. Okay, that's beautiful. And then we can release ourselves to come back, rolling over to the center, bring the arms back to the midline. And then we're going to switch the sides now. So left hand comes out to the side on this way. My right hand comes down to the floor. I bend into my right knee. And then I can draw this over until my foot comes to the ground.
And you can feel a pretty deep opening into the shoulders and into the hips in this position. So you might really need to focus inside to stay with this, to let go, to learn to relax. Very nice. And then again, we can let that go. Coming back down to the ground. Gently pushing ourselves up off the floor, and maybe we're going to just come into child's pose for a moment to take a little break, just to rest into, you can take a wide-legged child's pose, or if it feels better to keep the knees more together, you can take the hands out in front of you, and just let the forehead come to the floor. Let go in here and just relax. And I'm going to ask you a question to start to help us to reflect a little bit on how we are with ourselves at this present moment. And again, when we're making these reflections, we don't want to create a judgment. These questions and reflections are purely as a method to just see what is right now. Remember, compassion is all about acceptance and understanding. So just to accept what the situation is now and create space for development, for growth. So just take this into yourself. Just take the time, once you're relaxed in the position, to see what comes up with the question. Okay? And my reflection for this pose I want you to think about is, how often in a day do I spend doing something for somebody else? How often do I spend thinking about the needs and the wants of other people and making that happen for my family, my friends, my society, my job, all these things? What sort of percentage, or how often during the day am I focused on other people? And just let that sit in your mind and just watch what comes up. Okay, and then we slowly start to come out of that position. And for the next one, it's good if you can roll up the sides of your mat, or if you have some blankets handy or something, you can use them as well. But we just want to protect the knees a little bit here. So I want to roll up my mat. A little bit, that I can take my knees apart and that they're kind of comfortable and cushioned here.
So what I'm going to do is then I come down onto my forearms, keep them on the floor. Maybe you can't see my in front of my hands, but that doesn't matter. And then with my feet, I'm going to extend them a little bit. And the idea with my tailbone is I want to draw so my buttocks might want to stick up into the air, and I just want to sort of draw that down a little bit. Okay? You can let the head just rest in a neutral position. And for this one, we're probably going to stay for a couple of minutes, so really try to let go here where you can. And for the next part of the reflection, the question comes up as to how much time or how many times a day do I spend thinking about myself, thinking about what I need, and making things happen for me. How often am I checking in with my feelings, my emotions? How often am I noticing in my body where it hurts, where there's tiredness? How often am I nurturing myself? Am I caring for myself? How much of the day do I put myself as first priority? Okay, and then to slowly come out of that position, you can come back up off the forearms onto your hands, and then just slowly, one knee at a time, draw yourself back into the center. Beautiful. Unroll the mat, and then come back down to sitting. Slowly, slowly. Alright. Okay, from here we're going to come into another twist, but we will extend the left foot forward. Take your take your right leg over the left, and then from here, I lift my left arm up, bend, draw over the right leg, and my right arm goes behind me. Again, I'm trying to keep my torso gently upright so that my spine stays straight, and I can make a really nice twist if I want, looking out over the right shoulder. And just opening there. With every breath, making a bit more space. Twisting a little bit deeper. And then release. Come back to the front. And keep your right leg crossed over the left. And then just draw the left one underneath so that the two legs are sitting on top of each other. And then from there, what we're going to do is walk the hands out and just come down onto the floor where it feels right for you. So you don't have to make it all the way down to the ground, but just coming down where it's comfortable, where it's possible. And you can let the neck just be free, neutral, and going into the tension. Walking the hands back up to center, straightening out the legs, keeping the right leg straight this time, and we're going to cross the left leg over. Okay, we can reach the right arm up, taking it over the left thigh. Left hand goes behind the body, and then we twist the upper torso around. Breathing in to build up, breathing out, letting go. And release, come back to center. Keeping the left knee folded, bring the right knee underneath this time. So we've switched over, and again, just walking down, coming to the floor, releasing into this position. And I want to ask you another reflection. What is it that helps you to recharge yourself? What can you do to give back to yourself? And just notice if anything comes up, or if it might be even difficult to come up with something that you know is good for you, that you know rejuvenates you and brings you peace, calmness, happiness, joy, whatever. And then walking the hands back towards the body to bring yourself up. We're going to come into one last position or one last pose for this Yin Yoga session. Coming down to the floor, lying on the back, and it's going to be our Shavasana, but it's not going to be typical. So we're going to bring the feet together so that we're opening into the hips. If it's really difficult to sit like this, you can extend the feet out a little bit further in front of you. So take whichever variation feels good for you. And with the arms, we're going to extend them overhead. So it's kind of a really big kind of opening in the front of the body here. Okay? So for the last time, we're closing the eyes. We're scanning the body. We're breathing in. And we're exhaling and trying to let go of any last bit of tension which is holding on in the hips, the shoulders, the neck, the lower back. Making space and really just letting go, melting into the mat beneath us. Breathing in and breathing out. Melting away, letting go of the tension, letting go of emotion. Creating space and freedom and energy flow in the body.
gently start to bring the knees together towards each other. And if you like, for the last minute, you can extend the legs down to the floor. And finally relax. Slowly start to bring the hands back over the head and down to the body. Maybe making your way over to one side. And slowly pressing into the floor to come back up to a sitting position. And as we come to the end of this practice, we can keep our eyes closed if we like. Bringing the hands maybe to the knees. Or if you want to bring the hands into the prayer position with the two thumbs touching into the heart center. And just as one final reflection, or even maybe one final challenge, I would really invite each and every one of us to prioritize ourselves this week by finding 3 ways, just 3 ways, 3 activities that we can do where we can find some nourishment, some rejuvenation, some relaxation or some happiness. These 3 activities should be something that you don't feel you should do, but that you feel would really, in this moment, make you to feel good in some way, to relax, to feel calm, to feel happy. And it could be something creative, it could be something active, walking through nature. It could be doing nothing at all and simply just sitting on the couch, reading a book, watching a movie, calling your friend, going out to meet somebody. Whatever that is, 3 ways this week which you could really find to nourish yourself, to nourish your soul, and to listen to what it is that you really need in that moment. 3 is not so much. So please give it a shot. I'm going to do it as well. And let's train ourselves in self-compassion so that we have the ability to do what it takes to walk the spiritual path. To look after ourselves so that we can start to look after others. To start to look after the environment and this planet. And that we can start to have a better way. Okay. Thank you again for practicing. I look forward to seeing you again soon and have a super beautiful day. Namaste.